If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Wednesday, January 15th, 2014. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. Joining us in the Finis Monitor will be Victor Wales, the head swim coach at the University of Hawaii. At this time of the year, his pool is one of the most popular in the United States, as several college teams cross the Pacific Ocean for a few days of training in the warm sun not too far from the beach. The Rainbow Swim team gets a big benefit from it as well, stepping up for dual meet action against these teams before they return to the mainland. And joining us via Skype to talk about it all from his office in Honolulu is Victor Wales. Coach, it's good to see you. How are you?
Good, Jeff. Aloha.
Aloha and mahalo and everything that goes along with it. I know there's so many great words that I learn every time I go to Hawaii, and I come back and tend to always want to use it because it tends to bring a great vibe when you say aloha, mahalo, and things like that.
Oh, yeah. You know, that aloha spirit lives on even when you leave the island.
So let's make everyone jealous on the mainland. How's the weather out there?
Well, not to be jealous about today. It's about 80 this morning. We got a little bit of rain coming in, but when everyone else was had that polar vortex going on, we had our solar vortex going for Christmas training, and all the teams that came out here, really enjoyed their time, I think.
Well, I'm extremely jealous. We're here in Phoenix where the weather's still nice, but I think I want to hop on a plane and go to Hawaii right now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I could see why lots of teams come out to visit you during the holidays. How many teams did you have using your pool this year?
We had a lot. We had about 10 different universities swimming with us. We had a bunch of teams come out before Christmas. For about 10 days. Northwestern, UOP, Finlay. And then after Christmas, the guys have been here forever. Wisconsin, I think this was like their 43rd year in a row or something. Minnesota's still here, Minnesota State. We swam, like you were talking about, we get some great meets. Purdue came over, swam us. And then that doesn't even include the diving teams that come over. We have, the forum goes on for both swimming and diving, and so it's literally 5:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night for about 3 weeks.
And in terms of scheduling, how do you get all these teams to make sure that they have adequate pool time? It seems like it must be very difficult.
It is. It's a big puzzle. And it's, basically what we do is we try and get the people who have come and, and kind of have their tradition of training with us. And then, it's kind of nice though, there's a lot of teams that rotate in every, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and they kind of give me about a year advance warning. And then, I have to sit down and I've got to figure out, okay, where, how are we going to do this? How are we going to add water polo in when water polo starts? How do we get them into the pool? And, the great thing is that everyone makes sacrifices that are here, it's part of that aloha spirit. And we swam real late this year. We were finishing at 10 o'clock at night. But you know what? That's all part of the deal. It's just, the energy that is brought to this facility from everyone that comes and trains here, and just they get here and it's cold and they left and it was snowing and and it's warm. I mean, some days people were laughing. It was over 100 degrees warmer here than back at home. And so it's everybody's in a good mood, and they're experiencing Hawaii and things that they've only dreamed about. Seeing whales, swimming with dolphins, climbing volcanoes, jumping off waterfalls, and the coaches are excited, and it's it just lends for just a great atmosphere.
If I were a college coach and I was thinking I want to send my team out to Hawaii for holiday training, what's the process for making that happen?
The process is, basically just getting in touch with me. If you want to train here at the University of Hawaii, there's other travel agencies and stuff that do Hawaii trips. There's a lot of pools now. I mean, it's been going on here forever. I mean, it started back probably in the 50s. Actually, Doc Councilman brought his Indiana teams out here. The legacy has gone on, and our pool was built, the new facility that we're in now is built in 78. But since, over the last two decades, Punahou has started bringing some teams, Iolani, the main VMAC out in the middle of the island. So, it's really expanding and growing. Some teams go over to HPA on the Big Island, then, they go train on Lahaina on Maui. It's just, there's a lot of different, let's say, places, depending on your budget. Even small schools, like we had Hiram University, which is a very small school. All the kids pay for their own trip. I mean, they even, could afford to come out here. So, yeah, I know sometimes the ticket can be expensive, especially if you're looking to, go to Florida or Puerto Rico. But, weather-wise, I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed sun 90% of the time.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything you could say negative about the experience of going there.
Oh, the hotels can be a little crowded this time of year, but, it's worth it.
Well, you talked earlier about some of the teams you raced in dual meets, specifically Purdue and Wisconsin, I guess, probably be the ones that a lot of people would know in terms of teams that have a lot of outstanding swimmers on them. How would you say your teams raced against them?
We race tough, and that's kind of been, part of the learning experience of me being here. I've been here 8 years, and finding the teams that come here who come here to train and train hard. And it's, Wisconsin's always been a great mix with us. This year they wanted to get ready, for their dual meet out at SC. So Purdue stepped up and swam us. We love training against other schools that are tired, who work hard during these trips, because the reality is that we have a great advantage here in terms of we get to swim these teams that are top 20, who are happy, they're training hard, and they get to come into our house and in our pool and experience kind of the Hawaii swimming, which is a little bit a little bit more mellow, a little bit island time. We'll start when we're ready, and it makes for great racing. And our pool, a lot of coaches, it's funny because a lot of coaches who come on these training trips came as athletes. And so they swam in this pool. And, and our diving well is 17 feet deep. It's one of probably the fastest outdoor pools in America. And so, the coaches are fired up because we all swam here on our training trips. And we know what you can do in this pool. And so it makes for, a great atmosphere. It's, everyone's kind of having a good time, and we get to do our senior day, at this, at our last meet, and that's always kind of special too, just to, have the other teams be here and see, all the lays going around and piling up on each kid until you can barely see their eyes, because they got 10 lays on them, and, and just kind of seeing those traditions that we do here, I think is, fun for everybody.
I'm sure there's a lot of pros to trying to convince someone to swim for you at the University of Hawaii. Do you find any challenges with recruiting at all?
Oh man, Jeff, it's of all the places I've been in, I've coached at 4 other universities. This is the hardest place to recruit to. And you'd say to yourself, Victor, you're kidding me, man. Like who doesn't want to go to Hawaii? But it's a challenge. Not that many people get on plane flights. 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And the idea and this belief of, I'm going to go to paradise and I'm going to swim and I'm going to, get a great education is one thing, and it's like, and we promote the swimming and the academics. When I talk to recruits, it's not as much about where we are, it's about what we do, what we emphasize, how we can make you better, how you can get a degree, but it's a challenge. I mean, you would be surprised when we strike out more than, we hit gold.
Interesting. I never really have thought it would have been that way. You're about 6 weeks away from your conference meet. It's kind of interesting. You guys are part of the MPSF, which most people would recognize that as the conference that really kind of deals with water polo. What's your outlook for the conference meet this year?
We're just getting ready, trying to swim as fast as we can. We've got good competition on both sides. You're talking about most of the schools that used to be in the Big West. UOP and BYU on the men's side this year, which is going to be great. Peter's doing a great job at UOP. BYU is always ready. They've got guys, coming back from missions and that type of stuff. We're looking for, a great competition with them. On the women's side, Santa Barbara, Cal Poly, UC Davis, BYU, so it's a great meet. It's a fun mid-major meet. We're at the East Los Angeles Community College pool now that Belmont's down. It's just fun for us to be able to swim on the West Coast. That's really been kind of detrimental to our recruiting in the last few years is, we've been going to Texas. Before that, they were going to Michigan to swim in the conference championships. So for us to kind of form a West Coast identity and be in California for our championships is just really, really good for the program.
And I know you guys had a lot stronger field of teams last year, but I would imagine, that doesn't change how your swimmers are approaching this year, knowing that, the field is, I wouldn't say diluted, but just changed dramatically.
It has changed, but, it's funny. We were in the Conference USA a few years ago before we moved over here, and we started there with only 3 teams, and SMU was, they were the team, and, it took us a while to, raise our level of competition, our recruiting, and eventually we were able to beat them. And, and now we come into this conference, BYU is the #1 team, and it's about, best times. It's about performance. It's about, trying to achieve your goals. And so, whether there's 10 or 12 teams or 3 teams, it's really about the individuals stepping up and, performing the way that they want to.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a great conference meeting. I know you're probably anxious to get out on deck, get your swimmers ready to go. Before we let you go, we're going to submit you to our final 5. These are 5 questions we ask all of our guests on the show. Get to know them a little bit better. So, Victor, the first question to you is, if you could change the order of strokes in the individual medley, how would you change it?
Oh, that's a good question. I might just reverse it. Let the freestylers go first, and just go backwards. It'd be kind of fun to see the flyers, race home, especially with the underwater work.
That would be interesting. Besides coaching, what's a career or job you would like to try?
Oh, maybe a counselor. It seems like I'm already doing that in my current job. So, maybe that'd be, kind of fun.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of job descriptions that isn't really included with college coach that you have to sometimes take on.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, what's a career or job you would not like to try?
Oh man, anything that kept me indoors 10 hours. If I was in some cubicle city or something, and I just don't think I'd make it.
If you could change or add any of the rules in the swimming rule book, what would it be?
Oh, I think I just let the breaststrokers go for it.
In what way?
It's gotten to the point where, it's like when I swam, and I was taught by, Rich Schroeder, it's like how to do a dolphin kick. Hey, sneak the dolphin kick in this way. And now it's like, okay, you get 1 dolphin kick, oh, we're taking 2. Let's try and throw 3 in there. So, I think it'd just be interesting if, you could just maybe even just swim breaststroke with dolphin kick. I think it really would, I know a lot of butterflyers who'd be really happy about that who could never do breaststroke kick for sure.
Yeah, you're probably right. Last question for you, Victor. This is maybe kind of weird, but where do you like to go for vacation?
That is a good question. Right now I like to go home. I like getting back to the San Francisco Bay Area. All my brother, my sister, my family, my wife's family. Anytime you get back to San Francisco, greatest city in the world. So that's where I like to go for vacation.
Well, we've had a few people say Hawaii, so that's why I thought it'd be weird just saying, you're in one of the best vacation places in the world. But I understand, it's always great to go home.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And you're right. Hawaii is a great place, and it's funny. A lot of times we actually do, go to the other islands for quick vacations, that type of stuff. So, it's more than just Oahu.
Well, Victor, mahalo very much for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season. We can't wait to see how the Rainbows finish off the season.
Mahalo, Jeff.
All right, and our thanks to you as well for joining us on the show. Be sure to go to swimmingworld.tv to watch any episodes you've missed of the Morning Swim Show. I'm Jeff Cummings, and we'll see you next time.